Hello and welcome to the intro episode of A Spin of the Globe, a new weekly series that will cover the top stories from countries, territories, and nations from around the world, delivered in bite-sized updates. I'm your host, Palmer Berg. New episodes will drop on Sunday evenings, U.S. Pacific Time Zone, and will cover the previous week's top stories from a set of 19 global regions. The goal of this series is to keep you up to date on current events, top news stories, and trends that are happening in areas of the world you may not regularly think about or even hear about on a day-to-day basis. And this will be done by curating the top news articles from a set of 19 regions from around the globe. Because the world is so large and includes approximately 248 countries, territories, nations, and other geopolitical entities, I've divided the world into smaller and more manageable geographic regions, from where I'll be pulling and presenting that region's top 3 to 5 stories, and will include the headline, outlet, date, and an overview of the story. The 19 regions are divided as follows: Northern Africa, Western Africa, Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, Central Africa, Western Asia, Southern Asia, Southeastern Asia, Eastern Asia, Central Asia, North America, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Southern Europe, and finally Melanesia, Micronesia, Polynesia, Australia, New Zealand, and Antarctica. Some of these regions are self-explanatory, but for a full breakdown of each of the regions, please click on the link in the description. Before getting started, I wanted to offer a few additional table setting notes. First, the countries are organized into 19 global regions purely as an organizational method. These regions are mainly based on something called the United Nations Geoscheme. The main difference being that the UN's Geoscheme has 22 regions, whereas this series will have 19. And that is because I'm combining the areas of Melanesia, Micronesia, Polynesia, Australia, New Zealand, and Antarctica into one region. With this regionalization, I want to recognize that both my setup and the UN's Geoscheme are imperfect and could lean into misconceptions and/or negative biases. Historically, geography has been used as a weapon to further marginalize communities. For example, referring to Lebanon as a Middle Eastern country connotes a certain image that could lead some people to make assumptions, such as how safe or wealthy the country is, whereas identifying Lebanon as being located in Western Asia may paint a different picture in a person's mind. Even the creators of the UN's Geoscheme noted this. To quote them directly, "The assignment of countries or areas to specific groupings is for statistical convenience and does not imply any assumptions regarding political or other affiliations of countries or territories." So while recognizing the regionalization of planet Earth's approximately 248 countries, territories, nations, and other geopolitical entities is imperfect, it is meant to be an organizational system and nothing more. Second, I keep referencing the number, approximately 248 global countries, territories, nations, and other geopolitical entities. This number is once again based off of a United Nations list and includes the following: 193 UN member states, 2 UN observer states, which are Vatican City and Palestine, 2 states in free association with New Zealand, which are the Cook Islands and Niue, and 49 non-sovereign dependencies or territories, places like Antarctica or Western Sahara, which is a disputed territory whose sovereignty is currently being contested. Third, I tend to use the geopolitical terms of country, territory, nation, nation-state, state, etc., all interchangeably. In international law, each of those terms come with a different set of definitions, weight, and authority depending on its usage. That is not my intent. Again, I will use those terms interchangeably, and unless otherwise noted, shouldn't be taken as anything other than that. Fourth, I will be referring to countries using their conventional names as well as their anglicized names. For example, I will be referring to the country of North Korea, an accepted, conventional, and commonplace name for the country, versus using the country's official legal name of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. I'll also be using the standardized English name for countries, for example, using Cape Verde versus Cabo Verde. This is partially to save time, partially to save myself from embarrassing mispronunciations, and partially to communicate in a way that most people speak. I want these updates to be accessible and useful for as many people as possible. Fifth and finally, I recognize that I will be dealing with a number of sensitive topics, issues, and events. I will do my best to be respectful, balanced, and nuanced. I want to underline that again. My intentions are to be unbiased, neutral, and respectful. However, I am a human and will most likely make mistakes. Like all humans, I will have my own unintentional and unconscious biases. And should I make a mistake, use incorrect terminologies, or employ a poor choice of words, please let me know. Any mistakes made are not coming from a malicious place. I want to learn and grow and better myself, so please reach out with any constructive feedback, comments, questions, or concerns. With all of that said, my goal is to continually evolve and update this series. I would like to potentially get to a place of having monthly lookbacks for each of the regions, or even getting to a place where I can highlight individual stories in all approximately 248 countries, rather than region by region. So stay tuned for updates and any evolutions. So to wrap it up, I'll be your host. I'm Palmer Berg, and I'm excited to get started, and I hope you find this new series helpful, insightful, and enjoyable. Keep an eye out for Sunday's episode, and until then, remember, there is only one world but many stories. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.